Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Majesty, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, presides over the military parade on parade grounds at Husn al-Shumuh on the occasion of the Sultan's celebration of the 45th Glorious National Day. The Sultanate celebrates the 45th Glorious National Day with achievements in all social, economic and political levels. Local, Arab and foreign media highlights the Omani Renaissance achievements in all fields as the Sultan celebrates the 45th Glorious National Day. And a written message for His Majesty the Sultan from His Excellency the President of Comoros is handed to His Excellency the Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, this afternoon presided over the military parade which was held on parade grounds at Husn al-Shumuh on the occasion of the Sultan's celebration of the 45th Glorious National Day. Symbolic units representing forces of the Sultan's Armed Forces, Royal Guard of Oman, Sultan's Special Force and Royal Oman Police took part. At the arrival of His Majesty the Sultan at the parade grounds, he was received by His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed Nu'mani, Minister of the Royal Office, His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Saud bin Harib al-Busaidi, Minister responsible for Defense Affairs, and Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Khalid al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of Sultan's Armed Forces. After His Majesty ascended the royal dais, the parade column performed the military salute. The joint military music band played the royal anthem and the artillery fired a 21-gun salute greeting His Majesty. After that, the commander of the military parade column approached the royal dais, requesting His Majesty, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, to start activities of the military parade.
مولاي صاحب الجلالة، طابور قواتكم المسلحة جاهز، فهل تأمر جلالتكم ببدء الاستعراض؟ مولاي.
Then the Joint Military Music Band, which represents forces of Sultan's Armed Forces, Royal Guard of Oman, Royal Oman Police and the Royal Court Affairs, presented a display by slow and ordinary march passing in front of the royal dais. The columns of the protocol guards presented a military display accompanied by musical pieces of the Joint Military Band in a form of ordinary march, displaying passing in front of the royal dais, performing a military salute to His Majesty, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces.
طابور تاهية طابور الحذاء من اليسار بالأمام معتدل سر طابور دوران إلى اليسار لليسار دور
After that, the columns of protocol guards performed the military chant, Ya Hayy Ya Qayyum. The Joint Military Music Band also presented international various musical pieces, and from ancient Omani heritage, the columns of the protocol guards performed loyalty and allegiance chant, believe in Allah, loyalty to the Sultan and protection for the country, and then cheered thrice the life of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces.
للسلطان الزوج عن الوطن يعيش جلالة السلطان قابوس المعظم يعيش جلالة السلطان قابوس المعظم يعيش جلالة السلطان قابوس المعظم.
Then the royal anthem was played and the columns of protocol guards performed the military salute to His Majesty the Sultan, marking the end of military parade activities. Then His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, left the parade ground. The event was ended along with His Majesty by Their Highnesses, Their Excellencies, Chairman of the State and Shura Councils, Their Excellencies the Ministers and Advisors, Commanders of Sultan's Armed Forces, Royal Guard of Oman, Sultan's Special Force, Royal Oman Police and other military and security services, Honourable Members of the State Council, Their Excellencies, Members of the Shura Council, Ministries, Under-Secretaries and Governors, Honourable Judges at the Governorate of Dakhliya, Their Excellencies, Oman Ambassadors at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Heads of Diplomatic Missions of the brotherly and friendly countries accredited to the Sultanate, military attachés, Their Excellencies the Walis in the Governorate of Dakhliya, military commanders and officers, senior state officials, sheikhs and dignitaries, a number of officers, non-commissioned officers and personnel of Sultan Armed Forces, Royal Guard of Oman, Sultan Special Force, Royal Oman Police, Royal Court Affairs and other security services of the state. On the occasion of the 45th Glorious National Day, His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, accepted a present by the Ministry of Defence and Sultan's Armed Forces presented by His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Saud bin Harib al-Busaidi, Minister responsible for Defence Affairs, with the presence of Lieutenant General, the Chief of Staff of Sultan Armed Forces and Commanders of Sultan Armed Forces. Upon royal orders of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, it had been decided that Wednesday and Thursday, the 2nd and 3rd of December, will be an official leave for employees at the ministries and public authorities and other units of the state administrative apparatus on the occasion of the 45th Glorious National Day. That came in a decision issued by His Excellency Sayyid Khalid bin Hilal bin bin Saud Al Busaidi, Minister of Diwan of the Royal Court and Chairman of Civil Service Council. His Excellency Sheikh Abdullah bin Nasser Al Bakri, Minister of Manpower, also issued a decision determining the leave for 45th Glorious National Day for employees of companies and establishments of the private sector on Wednesday and Thursday, the 2nd and 3rd of December 2015. The decision allows employers and employees to agree on compensation this leave if the necessity arises to work during the leave. The Sultan celebrates the 45th Glorious National Day as it continues its march towards further progress and prosperity under the wise leadership of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos. The 18th of November represents a historical day in Oman as the Omani people stand in this great nation occasion with pride, renewing loyalty and allegiance. More details in the following report by Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubai.
On the 18th of November, all of the achievements in the Sultanate stands with pride, sending a greeting of loyalty and gratitude to the beloved leader, His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said. May Allah the Almighty protect him.
The 18th of November is a milestone in modern Oman history. It has really revolutionized life and the status of the state of Oman from ignorance, from neglection, from poverty to peace, prosperity and development. In human capital development, where we are concerned in higher education, it is really a major growth. From a mere 900 students, merely elementary students in elementary schools, to over 600,000 in 1,400 schools, public and private, and around 100,000 Omani in higher education, both in public, private and abroad. That is a major growth in real human assets development, which really the future of Oman.
This glorious day is not like any other day in the Omani calendar. It is the land's day. It is the nation's cheerfulness of its great achievements, which placed Oman in the rank of modern states with its institutions, infrastructure and advanced services directed to citizens in all the governorates of the Sultanate.
The big achievement of His Majesty's era is building human resources, and higher institutions in this country, whether they are private or public, are playing a major role in this. And they need to realize that their role is very important for this country and for the well-being of everyone in this country. We really appreciate their role and we wish them all the success in their endeavor, and we hope they will be succeeding.
With its continuous development plans for 4.5 decades that aimed at building qualified and capable generations ready to take on the responsibilities of national action and decision-making, which serve the country through the various state institutions, including the Shura Council, which began this month for the works of the 8th term after the electoral process that took place last October in all the wilayats of the Sultanate. The government focused on the education and cultural sectors through a range of projects, foremost the Oman Across Ages Museum that is being constructed in the Wilayat of Manah, with the preparation for the opening of the Omani National Museum and assigning the tender for the Oman Cultural Complex to be added to the civilization edifices in the Sultanate, such as a Royal Opera House in Muscat. The government is also working on the establishment of the University of Oman to continue its cultural role played by the Sultan Qaboos University since the year 1986 in graduating generations of Renaissance, with tens of government and private educational institutions spread throughout the Sultanate.
I wish for our country to continue its great and wonderful story of successful, prosperous achievements under the care of Almighty Allah and under the dynamic, visionary and peaceful leadership of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos.
The transport sector gained a large share of the government spending in the recent years across a range of large-scale projects completed, including Salalah Airport, which is one of the 5 airports being completed in Muscat, Sohar and Duqm, and Ras Al Had, with planning for the 6th airport in Musandam. Parts of Al Batina and Al Sharqiya express highways open to traffic, and they are within the 2 large highways projects that are being currently implemented, including the Adam Thamrit duplication road projects. Besides, the government is planning to set up a railway from Sohar to Salalah, passing through Duqm, and the establishment of 2 logistic cities in the governorate of South Al-Batina and Al-Dhahira, and to achieve the desired integration between the Omani ports in Salalah, Sohar and Duqm, and the industrial zones built in various governorates. Foreign policy is considered as a synonymous part for internal development. The Sultanate has sought to build a well-established and strong relations with various countries of the world and contributed to the solution of many conflicts at the regional and international levels in the wilayas that ensured the people continue into their development tracks with a secure and stable atmosphere.
Research is one of the most important pillars in nation's growth, economy and development. Our country has realized the importance of research, and the Oman Research Council has developed research strategy that is linked to the Sultanate's overall development for building research capacity, achieving research excellence and disseminating knowledge.
Ya Rabbana, protect for us Our Majesty the Sultan is the permanent prayer for generations of renaissance in every day and night, and at any national event after God. The favor in what we have under the wise leadership is all attributed to His Majesty. The march is forward with a clear vision and realism to a bright future and a new horizons of development and growth. This day reminds us of our responsibilities to sustain and add to our endeavors. At the same time, we are called upon to further mobilize our energy efforts and move together in unity to enhance the progress of our country under the leadership of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos. Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television, Governorate of Ad-Dakhiliya.
The local and international newspapers took part through their pages in celebration of the Sultanate on its 45th Glorious National Day. The Oman newspaper talked about the plans and strategies by the Omani government to continue the development of the country, while Al-Watan's headline states the Sultan celebrates the 45th Glorious National Day as it continues its march towards more progress and prosperity. An article in Al Roya newspaper talked about the participation of the Google search engine in the Sultan's celebration of this glorious day by putting the Sultan's flag in its logo. Al Zaman newspaper described the event by saying 45 years of the Omani Renaissance. Emirati Ittihad newspaper said that the 45th Glorious National Day of the Sultanate is the march of the progress and prosperity. The Gulf newspaper focused on the Sultan's celebration on this occasion, as well as its development in political and other fields. The Jordanian news agency published an article that described the achievements of the Blessed Omani Renaissance and the role of His Majesty the Sultan in building the country. Al-Ayyam newspaper clarified that the 18th of November is the day that describes achievements of the last 45 years in Oman. The March of the Sultanate's development as it celebrates the 45th Glorious National Day was covered in the Arab and foreign media means and social media. They hailed the development steps witnessed in the Sultanate and they congratulated the Omani people on the occasion under the wise leadership of His Majesty the Sultan. They also covered the diplomatic success of the Sultanate in building bridges among people and cultures which characterized the tolerance of Oman. The media sources also talked about the indications of the great attention of His Majesty towards Omani citizen stemming from royal sound vision which view man as the target of development building. They also described the Sultan's steps towards development as a planned one to build a bright, present and prosperous future under the leadership of His Majesty the Sultan. Some journalists expressed that the Sultanate is an example for success of its internal and external levels. They further said that the most pioneering character for modern Omani Renaissance is that the deep relations between the leader and the citizens all over Oman. The Blessed Development March in the Sultanate presents a source of hope and pride for every Omani who is looking forward for a prosperous future. The 45th National Day coincides with the Sultan's preparation for the 9th five-year plan 2016-2020 to be implemented next year. The last five-year development plan was part of Oman 2020 strategy, which started in 1996 and will end this year. The concerned bodies are working tirelessly to prepare Oman Strategy 2040. The success of this strategy will rely mainly on the performance of the government and Shura and the State Council due to their experience and their new youth members. In addition to security and stability enjoyed by the Sultanate, it also did not spare efforts to provide support and assistance to other countries and lead them to the path of peace and avoid humanity wars and destructions, thanks to the wise vision of its leader. Decent life is one of the graces bestowed upon Oman by Almighty Allah. The Sultanate has adopted since the dawn of the Blessed Renaissance the peace and coexistence policies becoming a way of life for all citizens and residents in this dear country. Many residents in the Sultanate expressed their love for Oman and commended its friendly people. They said the Omani environment and life reduced the feeling of homesickness. Tourists and expatriates and from Arab and European countries also commended all details of Omani life and culture. A number of Egyptian media means covered the royal speech of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos at the Council of Oman. They analyzed the speech and stressed that it came to launch a new important phase in building the institutions of modern state. Among these Egyptian media means were Middle East News Agency, Al-Akhbar newspaper, Al-Ahram newspaper, October magazine and other electronic websites. The success of the Shura experiment in the Sultanate, which was accorded great attention by His Majesty, was also commended by these media means. Analysts described the Omani Renaissance being led by His Majesty Sultan Qaboos as a source of inspiration for many nations. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of congratulations to His Highness Prince Albert II of Monaco on the occasion of his country's National Day. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos received a written message from His Excellency President Dr. Ikilulu Doinine of the Union of the Comoros relating to the fraternal relations between the two brotherly countries. The message was received by His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, when he received at the General Diwan of Foreign Ministry today His Excellency Muhammad Ali Saleh, Vice President of the Union of the Comoros, Envoy of the Comoros President. The meeting discussed fields of cooperation and means of promoting them, besides reviewing a number of regional and international issues and developments. Still to come in our news bulletin. With the aim to revive the seafaring memories of the Gulf people, the Qatari ship Fatha Al Khair ends its voyage in Doha. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. With more than 11,018,000 Omani riyals, the tender board awarded during its meeting a number of projects and services. Some of the awarded projects are a training program for a number of Omani youth in aviation profession, presenting consultation services for Marine History Museum in the Wilaya of Sur, and providing employees whom their source language is English for the Ministry of Education. During the meeting, technical offers were open for a group of projects such as expanding Rusail Industry Estate second package first phase and establishing the project of Wadi Qaryat Mareh Road in the Wilaya of Bahla in the Governorate of Dakhliya. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Dr. Rashid bin Safi Al-Khuraibi, Chairman of the Tender Board. During a press conference in Muscat, Her Excellency Christina Galach, UN Under-Secretary General for Communications, stressed that the Sultanate is committed to work and achieve the goals of sustainable development. Here is what she said.
Well, for us, it's a moment to show the gratitude to the government of Oman, to the Ministry of Information, because they are key partners in many areas, but in particularly in keeping the memory of the United Nations through the digitization of all the audiovisual and archives of the United Nations. So this is a very important project, and at the same time we are going to continue working together for the promotion of the United Nations policies and activities. How we can better deepen the cooperation so that we can inform the society here. Very important group is for us the young people, which is an area in which we coincided that we have to do better, be more imaginative, learn to use better the social media, and how we can, in a very specific way, be able to have in New York junior professionals that for a period of time can work in our teams.
The Qatari ship Fatha Al Khair arrived at Katara Beach in the Qatari capital Doha after a one-month voyage in India. The ship carried 30 sailors, out of which 3 of them are Omanis. In its route, the ship docked at the Wilaya of Sur, then Muscat, before ending its voyage in Doha. The Qatari ship was received with warm welcome by the citizens of the Wilaya of Sur. The welcome program included traditional dances and a recitation of some poetry. The voyage aims to use the traditional wooden ship to revive the seafaring memories of the Gulf people. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, presides over the military parade on parade grounds at Husn al-Shuruk on the occasion of the Sultan's celebration of the 45th Glorious National Day. The Sultan celebrates the 45th Glorious National Day with achievements in all social, economic and political levels. Local, Arab and foreign media highlights Omani Renaissance achievements in all fields as the Sultan celebrates the 45th Glorious National Day. And a written message for His Majesty the Sultan from His Excellency the President of Comoros is handed to His Excellency the Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the studios and the newsroom, it's good night.